I'm sorry to hear that, Skippy. And I'm willing to take on that burden for now. Well, well, well. Well, well. Well, well, well. Hi. I am going to just say a quick hello. I'm going to let you stew for a little bit, let you kind of get a little bit of that broth infused with that suspense juice I guess. Hi, I'm Goose. That may have been a little bit of a weird introduction, but you know what? Today's all about weirdness. Today's all about the best kind of weirdness. I am gonna go like this. And hopefully that sounds good. Probably sounds a little bit better. I am using NVIDIA Broadcast now to enhance my microphony goodness. Went on a date with a very fancy corporate lady this weekend. I thought it was fun. She didn't agree. Oh, Skippy. Did you talk about WoW the whole time? Because if you did, I think I identified the problem. Unfortunately. All right, so I'm going to let you take a look. Just take a look at this wonderful still here, and just tell me if it elicits any comic booky emotions from you. I'll be right back. I'm going to feed my dogs. Not my feet, my dogs. And I'll be right back. All right, give me one moment. Really? She's insane. So are you. All right. You'll pardon me, I'm just eating a nut bar. So, welcome. Today's, I don't know. Today's a good day. It's Monday. Who really wants to go back to the grind, you know? But we're here, and we're doing it. Mm-hmm. Can I get a mm-hmm? Sorry, I'm changing my categories here. Gotta lock in that last minute optimization, you know? Give me the... Oh, good. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Perfect. All right. So what I would like to do is we're gonna I guess, I don't know, again, as just a person who likes to consume content from other creators, I'm not a huge fan of reacting to reactions. We do that a little bit, but it's not often, because it feels weird. It feels like I'm not... I know that it's not necessarily stealing somebody's content, because if you make it your own, it's fair use. But it's not the legal thing. It's just the weirdness of it. It's, I don't know. I think that they put in the time and effort to react to something, and if I'm going to do that, I don't just want to piggyback off of their reaction. It's not a biased, or it's a biased system at that point, you know. So I feel like it's a little corrupting of the actual commentary that one could make. But we'll start it out. Still got some phlegm. We'll start it out that way. And if it turns out that it's too much of a commentary, like the commentary is too much their own, then because if they're not just retelling information, then I don't want to steal content. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to steal someone's creativity. So we'll let it play for a bit. I'm just going to go make sure that my dog is not being hounded by the other dogs. Get it? Hounded? You get it? Hounded. All the mega tubers just rip off Asmongold clips. Well, I know. You know, and that's why I'm still a small creator, is because I don't do that kind of stuff, and I don't want to, you know. I want to make sure that I'm staying fairly ethical. Which, integrity is not something that gains viewers, and integrity doesn't really get a lot of support, so. That's why we're still struggling to hit 500 subs. But, you know, hopefully that'll change. It's just, you know, a matter of staying consistent. But today, if you would like to stick around, I am just going to go away for just a moment, but if you'd like to stick around, today we're going to talk about, it's Marvelous Monday, so we're going to talk about comic book properties, we're going to talk about Spider-Man, really whatever in the news of superheroes that tickles my fancy is something that we'll be checking out today. So, and it's Monday, which means new news cycles, new information's coming out. There's another leak about Spider-Man Brand New Day, which... Again, if you're here and you're going to watch any of the stuff that we're about to watch, which is, you know, kind of previewed up on the screen there, be aware. These details may not be set in stone. They may not be even finalized yet, but they may contain potential spoilers. So just take all of this stuff with a grain of salt, but understand that this may give away the plot of the movie. Okay? And if you want to be able to not be spoiled in hearing about the plot of the movie, then you may want to tune out for about the next hour and a half, I would say. All right, I'm going to go do one final pass, make sure my dogs are all done eating and that they're all outside pooping as they're wont to be. And then I'll be back. I got to get more water too. I'll be right back. I'm going to eat my nut bar on the way. All right? Enjoy. Enjoy me eating my nut bar. All right. Well, I hope you guys like Spider-Man, because it's his brand new day, you know? So real quick before we get into the game, because you know, we are playing RACCOIN as well. But before we get into that, I do just want to like knock this out of the way first, so we're not actually having to like look at stuff on screen the whole time. All right. So as you can see, this is not RACCOIN. We are going to get there. I just want to cover this real quick because this was a video that I watched this morning. It was filled with what I thought might be important information for the MCU going forward, so I figure it might be just a good thing to check out. Again, it might contain potential spoilers for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Please do not watch if you are trying to avoid any story spoilers, anything like that. Please be very careful. Please be under advisement, okay? All right. So this is a channel that I like. It's kind of like the same sort of thing. Like, it seems a bit weird. So this guy, I'll just play the end of the video real quick because he talks about his stuff. And, like... So that's his music playing in the background. You hear that?
I'll leave a link down to that in the description and comments. If you want to go subscribe over there, I'd appreciate it. To the rest of you,
yeah.
I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
So this guy, just a little background on him as a creator. He goes by Everything Always. He's got a ton of subscribers, way more than I do, over 1 million. But he's a good creator. He's, I'd say, about my age. I go for some cannabis right now. Oh yeah, cannabis is soon to be smoketh. But so this guy, he also is a music creator known as Allfires, who makes kind of like, it's a bit nu metal-ish stuff. It's not really the stuff that I'm particularly into, but you know, it's decent, and he's dedicated, he tries real hard, and he does like, he's a multi-hyphenate, which is a rare thing these days, especially someone who actually makes like quality stuff. His videos are, I wouldn't say top quality. They're not like the best videos I've ever seen, but he puts in a lot more work than I do. So, you know, much kudos, much kudos. I'm gonna reduce this music volume a little bit. It's a little loud in my ear. Not mute it. There you go. Nope, not mute it. Nope, not mute it. Ay. Also, I might just have the volume up too loud, but we'll see when we actually play the video.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything
So
Always.
That's the thing. I really wish that I could like leave voice comments on things, because every time I hear him introduce himself, I always repeat him. I go like, "What's going on?" He's got like a Philadelphia accent. It seems like, "What's going on?"
Name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, understandably so, and in the wake of the first...
Yeah, that's totally a Philadelphia accent. My name's Michael Roman. Right, Michael Roman. Yeah, Michael Roman.
Spider-Man trailer officially dropping. There have been a ton of new theories and a ton of new plot leaks for the upcoming film. Some of them seem a little off base, and there's also enough fan fiction circulating at this point, well, to fill up an entire channel. That being said, there is a more...
So, and this is kind of why we're gearing up here, because my idea may be correct. So my whole thing was I kept asking, who the hell is Keith David playing? He's clearly in the trailer. He's talking about 3 life cycles of spiders, which is stupid. It's not something that an actual biologist would ever say, because that's not a thing. But in this universe, the way that you have to like make that a thing somehow in order for someone to speak on it with such authority, he seems to know a lot about spiders, but he's saying complete gobbledygook in the real life, in the real world. So there has to be a reason behind that. And like Keith David, he looks like a Miles. He looks like he'd have the last name Warren, doesn't he? He just kind of has that air about him. Like he looks like a Miles Warren type. And so it may be that I was entirely correct in my earlier assumptions, but let's let Michael Roman
more recent and new plot we have to go over that not only names the noticeably absent main villain of the film, but introduces some new elements to the plot that we haven't yet talked about. We're breaking it all down. We have the text for you. We'll of course issue the, you know, if you're susceptible to that.
Let's just get right to it, okay? I don't want him to keep like mincing his words. He usually doesn't start his video. And this is what I say, like when I say that his videos aren't like the best, he does a lot of housekeeping and do-si-dos for about like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then he gets to the thing. That's annoying to me. I really just put... The information is supposed to be in the videos. Just information. Like, stop plugging yourself, stop plugging your channel. Like, that's all advertisement. And you can do that. But I don't consider that to be quality. Like, I would wait to be advertised. Like, I would wait for, like, like, money to advertise. You know what I mean? Like, I see... building a business like a kind of a role-playing game, and you get like a +1 to this, then you can like do these new skills, and then you get +1 to that, and then you can do these new skills, and it's I guess I could explain it, but it's probably not useful for this particular moment in time.
That kind of thing. So if you want to go into the unknown not known, now would be the time to back out. Otherwise, let's dive right in. Okay, it starts by saying that the main villain is Carrion the Jackal. Jackal is...
So... Now, Carrion is a name that I'm not super familiar with. We'll all see. This is why I'm doing this, is because this is all real-time research. We can take a look at all this stuff together so that we'll all find out at the same time. Carrion, Marvel. Okay, so he's a clone of Miles Warren. The original Carrion was a clone of Professor Miles Warren, the insane criminal known as the Jackal. Warren created him in order to incubate a virus he intended to use to eradicate humankind so he could replace it with clones. It's kind of like that thing, like, if all of society were replaced with replicants or clones, like, would we ever know? Ooh. Yeah, probably, because the biology would be different. Are you done eating? So can I shut the door now? She's got her mohawk up like she's seen another dog or something. What's up with you? Stop. Don't go crazy. All right. Okay. All right, here we go, guys. So the poll is meant to actually, you know, entice people to subscribe, not to just click no. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if we could change that, you know, change that trend a little bit. I am, again, still trying to get to 500 subs. I am desperately in need of being able to add a membership to this channel I'm moving in the next 6 months, and it would be nice to have some income from stuff that I'm already generating. It would be nice, but I don't, you know, you can't ever really anticipate that. It's like, that's like asking to be famous just from like, oh, hey, you know, guys, I'm posting videos on the internet. I should be famous. All right. I should be making bank. No, I don't think that. Hey, how's it going? God bless y'all. I use the word y'all constantly. It is one of my faves. Oh, the virus was meant to incubate for 5 years inside the clone's body, but he ended up being released from his clone casket too soon. I'll be moving to the Bay Area back in California. That's where a lot of my wife's family is. And so we're just going to go be closer to them. We've made a good go of it here in Portland. We've been here about 10 years now. Yeah. Did the thing, and I spent that decade sulking about my business partner leaving and absconding with all of my money. Of course, I'm still not bitter about it. But yeah, spent 10 years sulking, and I think I'm ready to go back. Wife is concerned about her parents getting up in age, and so she's insisting that we move back. And I was like, all right, seems like it's about that time. And that's the long and short of it. I'm hoping that we'll be able to move somewhere a little distant from her parents, just so that we're not having to like live under their roof and live like in close, trying to coexist proximity, because I'm very opinionated, and I am not afraid to speak that opinion. And you know, might not end up good, might be a little stressful. Despite believing himself to have all the real Miles Warren's memories up to the moment he cloned himself, Carrion did not know about the virus. Because of that, he thought his undead-like appearance and superhuman powers were the result of him spending too much time inside the clone casket. The man who found and released Carrion, an undergraduate student by the name of Randy Vale, became his accomplice in exchange for getting Spider-Man's powers, which Carrion promised to him. In order to destroy Spider-Man, whom he blamed for the deaths of both Warren and Gwen Stacy, Carrion first approached the Magia, but they refused to help him in his plan. Capturing Spider-Man after many failed attempts to kill him, Carrion collected some samples from him to create a giant spider amoeba. Oh, God! A spider amoeba. Okay. Intending for it to destroy its genetical template, however, Spider-Man freed himself before the spider amoeba could fulfill its mission. In the subsequent fight, a fire consumed the laboratory whilst the amoeba latched onto Carrion. The spider amoeba suffocated Carrion, smothering him to death, and then, unable to escape, it perished in the fire. Well, okay. Seems like it didn't work out for everybody in that particular instance. But you know what? I think it'll all come good in the end, you know? So in terms of, like, his involvement, oh, man. I mean, I guess they could, like, be bending it into the kind of situation where, like, he's present and you think that he's going to be the bad guy, but then he reveals that he has a clone and that's the real bad guy. It could be like an evil twin situation, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me that if it's Carrion / the Jackal, I would hope it's only one of them, because if it's both, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, because it would be like you have to introduce this guy and then it's like, oh, he's not the secret villain, it's actually his clone, even though he's a big celebrity. So hopefully it is Carrion / the Jackal, and it's not like Carrion / but also the Jackal or, you know. Dex Senpai, Spider-Man tends to get his quote-unquote biatch stolen quite a lot. You don't have to refer to women as biatches, but that is your proclivity. I would say he definitely does get a little bit... tossed to the side, kicked to the curb, as it were, you know. He ends up witnessing MJ in the canoodling arms of another, right? But I don't think it's Paul. I think that it is the Jackal's, like, assistant or whatever. Like, I think that's probably going to be one of the ways that they're, like, tied into this whole thing. Like, they might be part of... It's not poor language. I love calling people bitches. But I just don't refer to women in general in that manner. But I know culturally that's you know, some guys on the block, you know, they typically will say, like, yeah, man, I got my bitch this new bag or something like that. And, you know, people mean it as a term of endearment sometimes, you know, but it's just without context. It's hard to, you never know, you know. So I throw that out there, you know. I don't and some women would even refer to themselves as like, yeah, I'm that dude's bitch. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know where you're from, but I grew up in I guess you could say hood. I guess you could say I grew up in the hood. If you wanted to use the. And I sometimes do like using the. Especially in context of saying I like using the because it's funny to say the. And then when it loses all meaning, it just sounds like a beat. The. See? It's cool. It's like a beat, you know?
Created a genetic virus that makes the afflicted susceptible to his mind control and possession. He can jump between the bodies of anyone infected. His ultimate goal is to bond fully with a powerful host body since his body is dying. He wants to save himself, but also become much more powerful. Jackal strikes a deal with two.
Well, sadly for you, I have a really bad memory. I mean, it's not terrible. Turn, you microphone. Oh, I guess I can just swivel it. If you have not joined on Twitch, you actually get the full frame instead of just a vertical version. And it does have ads. I've reduced them to the very bare minimum amount of the ads as possible, but I do get just a tiny little bit of money from that. So the more people go over there and watch ads, the better. And it's also, there's the option to sub. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free sub that you can use every month. And I wish it were a sub sandwich. I wish that was the actual reward that you got for subscribing to Amazon Prime is a free sub sandwich. I'd be pretty into that. It should be decent though, because some of the sandwiches I buy are like upwards of like $16. You know, I wouldn't mind paying $16 a month to see a creator that I like creating content, but I wouldn't want to. I'm perfectly okay with like maybe $6. Which is what I think a sub cost, $5, something like that. I guess I could have Patreon too, but I don't. There's no need to monetize the content if we don't have a lot of viewers, you know. So I just want to, if people are liking the content, if people enjoy the stuff that we talk about here, then that would be the best indicator to me of any amount of success. So you know, if you guys like the stream, say so. I would appreciate it. I never shy away from affirmation. I am typically a pretty lonely person. I'm an old guy. I have my wife, who's my best friend, and I don't really have that big a social circle. All my friends live in the Bay Area, and they all got families and jobs and careers and stuff like that. So, you know, I come on here to engage with you guys just as much as I come on here to engage with my own processes and creativity. So feel free to be a part of that. You know, I welcome y'all. I welcome y'all. God damn, subbing to WoW for $45 3 months sounds like not a thing I want to do. So the thing about Jackal has created a genetic virus that makes the afflicted susceptible to his mind control / possession. This is not something that is typical of the Jackal that I know of. I don't think that he really transfers his consciousness anywhere. But we have him up here on the screen. So I'll take a look at his powers, but I don't think he has that. Yeah, no. He's just a really good biochemist and geneticist. So he's not like a mind control or possession kind of guy, but there is every chance that his powers were not powers, but his whole deal is completely different in Brand New Day. It could be that he is actually like able to steal powers from people or you know, mimic powers somehow through genetics. And it could be that he's created like a serum that allows him to transfer his consciousness into different minds. Maybe that's a thing, you know, just because he like was able to modify and mutate or mess around with Jean's blood or something like that. I don't know. Perhaps, you know, he's like, he needs subjects with X genes so that he can extract and experiment on them. I don't know. It just seems like it's a strange thing to just kind of throw in there that he can jump bodies through possession or mind control. That's just not a thing that he's really done much. We'll take a look at the mostly the Clone Saga, but also as we'll read the description of the Jackal, it might become pretty apparent as to how he fits into this story, which was again why I originally thought that it was him who is the actual like secret villain all along, because of all the guys that are coming after Spider-Man. In the comics, he's a very skilled, I guess, villain creator. Like, he creates villains. He gives people like their equipment and their suits and stuff. And it's potentially his role that really was given to Doc Ock in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, as being the guy who supplies a lot of criminals with their technology. He's like a twisted Tony Stark, you know, like he develops villain tech, and I think he was the one who made the unicorn. Whatever, we'll get to him. Again, we'll get to him. I'm going to refresh both my memory and give you guys a perspective of where the Jackal comes from. I know that a lot of people don't typically look up these sources, so it may be new information to some of you, and it may be old information, but my knowledge comes from what I remember about comic books, because it's been a while, and I haven't read, like, I mostly watch like retrospectives and playlists that Comics Explain, not anymore, but Comic Storian and, you know, things like that do like long play reads or long reads of comics. So I mean, I refresh my memory quite a bit, but yeah, I don't know. It seems like a bit of a stretch to have him be able to jump bodies. That just doesn't feel like. It feels like they're gonna have to do a good job of explaining that if it is the reality of things. His ultimate goal is to bond fully with a powerful host body, since his body is dying, and that's kind of where you're crossing the line into Carrion, because Carrion was like a failed clone. So his body would be dying, it would be decaying, and then he'd have to find a host. So I guess it would make sense, but Carrion also doesn't have this ability either. So you're having to attach a completely new or ultimately, I guess, unnecessary ability, because you can just do it through technology, to jump from one consciousness, or to jump from one brain to another. And I just don't think that anyone in this case is going to have those kinds of abilities other than Jean. And if Jean went to DODC in order to I guess, hide or be protected from persecution for being a mutant or something, then they would have had a reason to have her at a facility and do experiments on her. Either they have discovered the X gene, or they're trying to figure out why super people get their powers and she happened to volunteer, or she was captured through some other means. And so in that respect, perhaps the Department of DODC was actually able to employ someone like the Jackal, and he was able to extract her blood and experiment with her X gene and then somehow gain her power. But that's just not, he doesn't incorporate people's powers into himself. Like, he doesn't utilize other people's powers. He just he's a villain in the background who facilitates a lot of things, and he's a really skilled, scientist. But again, they could completely change his story. I'm guessing that he's actually at whatever university that Hulk is at, that Bruce Banner's at. And this is probably how we were introduced to him, as like, oh, a friend. He's a friendly professor. He's a guy that says stuff that doesn't exist in nature about how Spider-Man, or how spiders live across 3 different distinct lifestyles, or evolutions of life stages. I mean, to my mind, just from what I've seen from the MCU, I don't think they're going to go full on into like introducing the Jackal in this. I think it's all just kind of going to be like a set of circumstances. But the way that they're describing this is kind of how I was hoping that it would be, so it may blow my mind, and it may be absolutely the best thing that I've ever seen. Just let me know what you think about these plot points, if they sound good enough to you. His ultimate goal is to bond fully. Yeah, we already saw that. Jackal strikes a deal with Tombstone to help him gain control of the hand. Now, this sounds insanely probable. We don't know why the hand is in New York again. And the best excuse that I've heard so far amongst Redditors who talk in Spider-Man forums has been that, the hand is a large organization. Just because their leadership goes down doesn't mean there's not some splinter faction out there. And okay, I guess. But also, I mean, Madame Gao is still unaccounted for, so I guess she could be leading the Splinter faction, but it feels weird to have gone through all of the stuff that we went through in Daredevil seasons 1 through 3 to deal with the Hand, and then are now just kind of like, oh, well, they're back anyway, it's not a big deal, you guys took down Midland Circle and destroyed whatever the bones were left of that giant dragon. That's mysteriously underneath New York, but it's you did it, and it's all good, and you guys can forget that the Hand ever existed again, and now they're back. So it's like, again, I feel like they would have to have a pretty good explanation of that, but I'm down for it. I'm totally down for it, but they should have a decent explanation, Maybe they're trying to find the Beast. Maybe the thing that's jumping people's consciousnesses is the Beast. Maybe they're here trying to like find him, and maybe the Beast like goes through and possesses different people throughout the entire story, and that's kind of why we're seeing this whole thing. It could have possessed Jean somehow, and then she's like, went to DODC for help, or some set of circumstances happened that put Jean into contact with the Beast, or whatever the Beast is, and that's how. Like, it's again, we're still talking about some pretty big stretches that we're gonna have to make in order for this to make sense. But the thing that makes sense to me out of this is that the Jackal would strike a deal with Tombstone. Because Jackal is sort of like, he's not a super villain. He's, I guess, a super villain in that he looks freaky, and he's like been the source of a lot of Spider-Man's most, I guess, iconic. I think they're iconic. A lot of people don't like the Clone Saga, but I think they're iconic storylines. And there's every chance that he could have shit to do with the symbiotes, especially like that Venom sample that was left. Maybe he even like globs it onto Peter. Is like, I don't know, let's see if this works. Either way, it seems like there's going to be some involvement by the Jackal, but I don't realistically think that it's going to be super impactful to the storyline. I just think that this is a lot of like wishful thinking. And I'm right up there with you. Like, I wish that this was real, so that all of my claims could be correct about, how I'm theorizing about this universe, but I doubt it. What?
Since his body is dying. He wants to save himself, but also become much more powerful. Jackal strikes a deal with Tombstone to help him gain control of the Hand. The Hand are searching for a new leader, and Jackal uses his possession abilities to make them think the Beast from their ancient myths has returned and is seeking a proper body to lead them.
See, that could make sense, but it's still the Hand, and they've been to New York before. They did the whole Black Sky thing. They did the whole Midland Circle thing. And like, they have their resurrection juices and stuff, right? Like, but how is some foreign body, some person who has nothing to do with the Hand, going to convince the Hand that the entity from their fabled scriptures is somehow taking up residence in a body? I mean, I guess, again, I hope it's correct. And maybe by the end of the movie, like, maybe Daredevil is possessed, and then we get a whole The Beast storyline. Was it Shadowland storyline or something like that? That'd be cool. But, again, I just think they're going to have to take a little bit of time to really explain it. And in a movie that could potentially only be about 3 hours long, we're looking at a lot of exposition here. And it kind of happened in Deadpool, but through like fourth wall breaks, or at least the opening sequence, and then through fourth wall breaks. And I didn't really like it that much. I think that Deadpool is kind of getting a little too Ryan Reynolds-y. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see how it shakes out. But I'm optimistic. All right.
Jean Grey's powers have only recently manifested, and in a world without Xavier, she has been on the run and living rough. Frank helps her meet with William Metzger, who claims the DODC has developed technology that can suppress mutant powers. This is based on the
So this, again, I think if we're talking about an entity that can switch 3 hours is not too long for a film. Have you never seen Apocalypse Now or the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Come on. Come on now. Or Full Metal Jacket, or... and I'm talking about director's cuts here, okay? Alright. Longer movie... Scarface? Schindler's List? Titanic? I think Titanic's still... probably just under 2 hours. Nope, it's 3 hours. 3 hours, 15 minutes. And you can't tell me that movie dragged, okay? You can't fucking tell me that. Alright? Don't you fucking tell me that Titanic dragged. Alright? Are you gonna tell me that Titanic dragged? Alright? Don't you fucking tell me that. How fucking dare you? There's other really long-ass movies that are good. So I mean, it's not necessarily too long for a movie. It just is a long time. And so if you're not making a 90-page script and your script sucks, then you should probably cut it down to 90 pages. But if you can tell all the story elements and make them all worthwhile and make it good, you know, and do smart things with your investors' money, I don't care if a movie's fucking 6 hours. I wouldn't give a shit. I'd sit there for all 6 hours. Fuck yeah. So, Jean Grey, meeting with Frank, because if you watched his series at all, the second season is kind of, he takes on this sort of like rescue role. Like he rescues people from shitty situations. And it could be that this is another one of those things, because he's operating underground, you know, like we've seen him I think twice since he was last seen by the characters of this universe. And like in Spider-Man, he's been operating, you know, people know him, right? And like even in the most recent season of Daredevil, they're like, Frank's off doing his thing, you know, just being Frank. And so like he wouldn't be working with the DODC, right? So how would he introduce... I don't think he would be, anyway, because he wouldn't be trying to... I wouldn't think that he'd be on the side of Fisk. He wouldn't be, like, trying to enforce or police against any enhanced individuals. I don't think that he necessarily cares about a struggle between enhanced individuals and just regular people. He just only wants to hunt down evil people and rescue the innocents. So I don't know why he'd be in a position to put Jean Grey in front of William Metzger, who, again, I really hope he's not playing William Metzger. I hope that the guy who was sitting at the desk on the trailer, though it would put her in a pretty good position to have a conflict with this person simply because she has an X-gene, who claims DODC has developed technology that can suppress mutant powers. This is very similar to what was it, like Sanctuary? I don't think that's the right name for it. There was a period in the comics for X-Men where they did go through a similar thing where they found a cure for the X-gene. I think it didn't work. I think ultimately it didn't work. It worked like for a bit, and that's how they developed the technology for those suppression collars that they used in Age of Apocalypse. But all those storylines are completely retconned by now. Completely, like, they're just because of the House and Powers of X, the X-Men's the mutants' origin and how they navigate through, you know, the history of all of time is more or less different. At least the way that Moira McTaggart and Charles Xavier meet and develop the circumstances under which their relationship works is now completely different than how it was before, because we're in the X, the 10th incarnation of Moira, and she has adjusted things to the point where it's all now kind of down to a fine science, which is why they it's a way to get rid of a lot of the retconning that they did. It's a way to kind of unify a lot of the different timelines that should be just kind of like wiggling out there free and clear. so that they can get the comic book universes ready for either integration into a conflict with the Ultimate Universe or to make it more like the MCU. Which is a pattern they've gone through numerous times in the past. This is not like the first time that it's happening.
Bruce Banner created to suppress the Hulk. Jean is bound in a DODC facility because William believes the odd possessions and seemingly supernatural events happening must be caused by a psychic mutant like Jean Grey.
Now that kind of feels like a little bit of a plot hole, because if they have the technology to keep her there, then they probably would have thought of some way to keep a psionic entity from just freely going anywhere that it wants, is my guess. Again, I'm still hoping that Sadie Sink is playing Betsy Braddock. I'm still hoping, because the whole idea with her and Kwanin and the consciousness stuff makes a lot more sense. I hope I can reincarnate into a realm where magic is real. Probably doesn't exist. I think if we were going to discover parallel universes, we would have done that by now. At least being able to view them, you know? Or like perceive of their existence. But we are still not there yet, you know? That's why people are still arguing about whether or not parallel universes exist. And not just being like, hey, guess I was right.
There is no man.
Now the thing that I think is interesting is the bullet point where it says there is no man spider and no gray Hulk. Probably no gray Hulk. But there's most certainly going to be a Hulk. He's not just, Mark Ruffalo is not just in the movie to just be in the movie. He's absolutely going to Hulk out. Spider-Man versus Hulk is a fight that I think everyone loves to see. It's one of the more creative fights, and it ends in a stalemate, which is, I mean, comic book wise, but you never know what it's going to be like in a movie form. It could be awesome. You know? I think that no gray Hulk would be fine, because why would they introduce another form of the Hulk when they haven't even made a dedicated movie for the Hulk yet? They introduced his son, which is insane. I still cannot understand why they would do something like that. But then just having a variant of the Hulk, like a gray Hulk, would be weird, because they just introduced the red Hulk, Harrison Ford, like wasn't really taken that well in terms of just general movie reception. But I don't know. Maybe it would be a good idea. I don't know. Man Spider also. I don't know if it'd be a good idea to eliminate Man Spider from the equation. Mostly because, or at least not in terms of theorizing or trying to craft a detail that may have leaked, if you're making it up, simply because of just all the evidence that's there. I mean, we see him extracting himself from a web cocoon. He has natural web shooters, you know, but I don't know. Maybe they'll find a way to just, I guess, hand wave all of that away, so that they can be like, nope, it was, you know, it's the jackal, or nope, it's a disease, or nope, it's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Jean's bound to a DOD. There's no. Punisher is briefly possessed, but Jean's able to force it out of him. Jean's mind is too strong for Jackal to pierce, so she's safe. Now, that could be a thing that happens like at the beginning of the movie when they're trying to establish who Jean is as like in a power scale sense. Like, she can just force a rogue consciousness out of Frank like it's nothing. But again, we have to think about this when you're trying to establish whether or not this might be a real theory. You have to think about the logistics of the movie. Like, you have to introduce an entirely new character, talk about how it has all these abilities, talk about how it has this really niche and unique ability that can put it into the best position for espionage possible, and it chooses not to move up the chain the way that any other evil entity would. We have to get introduced to this other brand new character. Like, all this stuff has to have exposition attached to it, because we don't fucking know who these things are, who these people are, what they can do. So, like, you kind of have to, like, you have to kind of dismiss a lot of this stuff because you're not going to be able to fit that into the first half, let alone the first 2/3 of a movie. Like, it's just not, it doesn't, I don't know. You would have to wait to introduce Sadie Sink's character, and the way that they describe it, the way that a lot of people describe it, is that the truck sequence happens way early on. Like, it's one of the big first scenes in the movie. But see, that wouldn't make sense if we're talking this type of timeline, because you still have to see Spider-Man battling. You don't have to necessarily see him battling Boomerang and Tarantula in that, but it's going to help to establish where he's at in terms of his journey as Spider-Man, to be seen battling these guys towards the beginning of the movie, and then because he has his web shooters then. And then when something happens to him later on that diminishes his power and makes him unsure of himself as part of the hero's journey, then that could be when he goes to someone for help, or he, is the truck crashes into the prison or the lab or whatever, and he's exposed to them at this point, and then he's like, oh, hey, okay, I guess I could ask them for help with whatever's going on with me. Right? Like, he sees the best positioned people to help him with whatever's going on, so he goes to them. And maybe they might send him to a specialist where he would try to talk to, Bruce about whatever's going on. And Bruce is like, oh man, I don't know much about this stuff. Let me bring you to this guy who happens to be Miles. That could be a pretty good way to do that in the beginning of the movie. But again, you're still having to now introduce this new character who has this power that he didn't have in the comic books. So comic fans would be like, who's this guy? And then he'll introduce himself as Miles, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, so he's the Jackal. But then he'll be like, oh, and my consciousness is traveling from mind to mind. And they're like, well, how did that happen? So they're going to have to figure that out. They're going to have to figure out who Miles Warren is. They're going to have to figure out who Sadie Sink's playing. They're going to have to figure out whoever it is, if it's Jean Grey or Betsy Braddock. They're going to have to think about, okay, well, who the fuck is Jean Grey or Betsy Braddock? Especially people who've never seen Jean Grey on film before. You get what I'm saying? Like, it leads to way more questions than it does answers when you just present things like this without the appropriate amount of in-universe context or exposition. And so it feels like just them throwing this into the movie, which Destin Daniel Cretton is not known for doing that. He thinks out his shit, like his plot and whatnot. I don't know if he's directing this one or if he's just producing, but I know he's involved in some respect. So yeah, there's a lot that they're going to have to explain in the first, it seems like, hour of the movie in order to establish who Miles Warren is, why he has this power, what's happening with Jean Grey, and what's going on with the ODC. And I don't know if they're going to have enough time to do that other than just hand waving a lot of stuff. Which again is fine, but only if they do it well. Which is why I say, like, they should just have I hope they really have a good excuse.
And Spider and no Grey Hulk. Punisher is briefly possessed, but Jean is able to force it out of him. Jean's mind is too strong for Jackal to pierce, so she is safe. Jackal also possesses Bruce Banner later, but Jean manages to get his wristband off. With Bruce not in control, Hulk finally fully comes out and goes on a rampage. Now, this makes sense, way more sense than it would for him to just, I guess, evolve or change into Grey Hulk. And that's kind of a trope now, right? He's wearing this inhibitor device, and so it would be pretty cool if it were a situation where it got knocked off or like broken or something, and then they're like, oh no, what do we do now? The Hulk's coming and he's like, oh, I can't hold it back any longer, like, that's a cool mechanic. I would like to see that in the film. I want to believe that that's true. Jackal attempts to possess Peter, but to his surprise, he also fails to do so. The virus is in his body, but it isn't allowing Jackal any control. Now, I don't know if anyone knows this in terms of creative work, but having a mechanic that relies on more than one trigger makes things infinitely more difficult for your characters. You're kind of setting things up for failure. And you want to try and as a storyteller, you want to try and facilitate the hero's journey as much as possible. You want to try and facilitate, you work the environment around the character to make that stuff work, to make that stuff happen, to make it function properly. And so you wouldn't
And you could, I guess, if you had a good lore reason. Again, all creativity is all creative works are subjective, and it, my taste isn't going to be somebody else's taste. But the mechanic of having to have a pre-existing virus in your body in order for my villain's mind to control your mind, it's an unnecessary detail. You would typically want to just wrap that up in some passive mechanic where it's like, I just happen to have the strong enough mental fortitude to be able to dominate weaker minds. And so then I can take over, whatever consciousness this is. However, how it could work. And this could also explain how the X gene spreads, or it could explain how the X gene activates latent X genes within other people. Oh, excuse me. But what he could be doing, what the Jackal could be doing, is using Jean's blood. Again, I'm still always perpetually losing my voice. He could be using Jean's blood to create this virus. And the virus could then end up either spreading the X gene or spreading whatever activates the X gene among the general population. Which would be cool. A cool way of explaining that or using that as a vehicle for that to happen.
Manages to get his wristband off. Jackal
it begins mutating inside Peter because I guess Peter's a mutate? But again, having a nebulous virus that just exists, that then infects our hero, mutate, when it's already the prerequisite for another mechanic within the story, again, makes it less believable. Why is there such an advanced virus, and why hasn't it escaped? Why hasn't it broken containment or spread or anything like that? There are going to be leaks. There are going to be people who either disagree with whatever's happening and want to expose them to the police. There could be all kind of different contributing factors that would make this less meaningful. But again, if you explain it well, it doesn't matter. But the MCU is not a film entity that is known for telling very comprehensive stories. It begins mutating inside Peter and gives him organic webs, increased strength, heightened senses, and spider sense. So the stresses of him being alone and isolated causing the mutations to happen would be much more believable, especially if we're talking improving his skills that he already has. But storytelling-wise, if you're just switching him from, synthetic to organic webs, that's not a good storytelling element. That's just we're switching things for the sake of switching things. However, if he's alone and isolated and depressed, and his last fond memories are of the people that he last fought with or were fraternal with, basically the other Spider-Man, then maybe he might start to adopt those physical qualities should they exist in this context. That's fine. That's totally okay. And I'd be completely on board with that. However, I wouldn't want to just see him just for, I guess I'm mutating now, so I'm turning into a spider, but there's no man spider? That would be a thread that is just left hanging when you have the perfect opportunity to see man spider, right? Again, might not be the case. It might not, go down that way. And we, again, this is just a leak. This is just a rumor. We have to take it as such. And it could be that he has the black suit from the beginning of the movie. We don't know. We just don't know. There's no way to tell. Except for, I guess, set photos, but whatever. The Hand want Peter to be the host of the beast, so they push Jackal to figure out a way to control him. Jackal suggests if Peter were weakened, he might be more susceptible to control. I think what the user was doing was just watching the trailer sequentially and then just imagining what they wanted to happen in the trailer. Because that just sounds like a fantasy. Why would you put that as a bullet point? That doesn't if he's weakened, he's easier to control. Why is that a plot element? It's just a thing that people would know intrinsically. When a hero is near defeat, they're easier to take down, or they're easier to convince of things. They're like, that's just a natural, that's how you catch Pokemon, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like it's weird to have mentioned that specifically.
Also possesses Bruce Banner later, but Gene manages to get his wristband off. With Bruce not in control and goes on a test Peter, his body begins mutating, etc. They figure out a way to get susceptible to Scorpion during the battle. He might be more susceptible to control. Scorpion is armed with a new suit and
So if this is a real story element here, that Scorpion is armed with a new suit and a type of synthetic venom that should be able to weaken Spider-Man's resistance, Peter is stung by Scorpion during their battle. If this is a real story element and the detail about him being infected with the virus is true from before, then this could kill those two birds. This could be both a way to weaken him and a way to get him infected with the virus that's meant to control him. And this could all be the plot. Like, he could be facing all these villains in order for them to weaken him in a bunch of different ways so that he can be more susceptible to mind control. But mind control is such an out there concept for all the people that are even like that are in the project other than Jean Grey. And if she's hopping bodies, then it's not going to be then it's not the Jackal. And we could, like, it could be ambiguous for the viewer. Like, we could think they couldn't ever be overtly stated. Like, it could just be brought up maybe when Peter's actually in the presence of the Jackal and Sadie Sink is like, I was never hopping people's minds. And then you hear Keith David going, ha ha ha, like, you know, his voice that he has. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like laughing and shit. And then he's basically like, yeah, you know, it turns out you're not the only one with special abilities. And then he like hops over to somebody else to show them that he's the guy that was doing it. And then hop back to himself and be like, oh, you know, looks like I'm the villain. Maybe, you know. But this as its own storyline would also kind of come into conflict with the idea of Peter being infected by a virus. You don't need both, you know. They don't stack effects. They don't stack passives. Jackal controls Peter and presents him to the Hand as a new leader for them. They plan to kill and resurrect Peter to fully solidify him as one of them. So again, this person was just looking at the trailer and watching the scene where he's like on his knees in the prison. I don't think that's what's happening in that particular moment, unless they took control of the raft and that's where they've been operating out of. I doubt it. But you never know. You know. Again, this all will take a lot of explaining, which is why I just don't think that it's practical or realistic. And then them like having this like Ocean's 11, oh well, we already planned for this type deal. That's also just implausible. I don't think, not even just from a narrative point of view, it sounds stupid. Well, it turns out you've activated my trap card. And Jean is able to suppress Jackal. Like, what? That's not even really a defeat. Trapping him inside Peter so he can't jump bodies anymore. Now, this sounds really contrived and overcomplicated for no reason. They could just, like... You have to be a person who's making this stuff up in order to come up with stuff like this. It's very meta story. It's like, if you're inside of a story and you're trying to figure out how something's happening, like you're in a narrative in your own mind and you're planning it out as you go, this is what that sounds like. It's like, and then like, so she fights him with a psionic attack and she's able to suppress him, it turns out, and she traps him inside Peter so that he can't jump bodies anymore. I don't buy it. Like, there's no part of me that believes that Jean Grey is just going to suppress the Jackal so that he's trapped in Peter. Spidey regains full power and fights off the Hand. Jean, Frank, and Daredevil come to help him. Now, Daredevil coming to help him sounds like it makes sense. Spidey regains full power, though. He seems to be getting more powerful, if anything. So, as a mutate, he would probably only increase in power. And fights off the Hand, maybe single-handedly, I guess. Single-handedly. And then Tombstone has this Deus Ex Machina that kills the virus. You see what I mean? Like, a lot of this doesn't make sense. A lot of it just does not make sense. What on earth was that?
Jump bodies anymore. Spidey regains full power and fights off the Hand. Jean, Frank, and Daredevil come help him. Peter reverts to a weakened Possessor will die with him. He goes and confesses everything to MJ, then goes reading through it several times, circulating about a day. Now, this was actually Possessor will die with him. He goes and confesses.
Hey, XV, what's up? So this part here, Tombstone had a sort of kill switch for the Jackal virus all along, which he activates. We're talking too many twists. There's too many twists and turns. I just don't see this happening. I just don't see any possibility where there's so much like, oh, well, it turns out I knew this thing all along. Oh, well, it turns out I knew this thing all along. Oh, well, it turns out I've been doing this thing all along. You know, like, we're not in a contest of peeling off each other's masks, you know, trying to see like how many levels down we can get. You know, that's just, I just don't think that's a thing. I don't think it's going to be a thing. Peter reverts to a weakened form and is dying. I just don't feel like that's necessary. I guess if again, all of this would be fine if you can find a creative and good way to tell the story. But I just reverts to a weakened form and is dying. I'm assuming maybe like is mortally wounded. What are you reading? This is the latest plot leak for the full plot synopsis for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So if you're scared of seeing any spoilers, potential spoilers, because a lot of this doesn't make sense to me. Like it's not. I don't think that any of this is actually going to happen. But if you're afraid of any spoilers, I would say stay away. So yeah, I'm guessing probably just mortally wounded if they're going to go with this whole Spider-Man shuffling off the mortal coil angle. Jean still senses Jackal carrying in him, so Peter decides to let himself die so that the Possessor will die with him. Again, a little contrived. Like, I just don't think that that's necessary. And I find myself saying that to movies somewhat often. So it's not that that would never be in a movie. Like, oh gosh, I just think that's really unnecessary. I don't think that I don't think it's impossible for something like that to be in a movie. So if we're talking about whether the speculation is real or not, that's irrelevant. What it is more like bad storytelling. I mean, it leads to an unceremonious, potentially off-screen death. You know, like if we can't show someone who's going to die temporarily, because we all know that Spider-Man would come back, he's not just going to die and stay dead, then we would have to find a way to make it impactful. Like with Infinity War, when Tony was watching Spider-Man come towards him, like as he was starting to dust, and he was like, "Oh, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so well." When he was doing that stuff, we had to look at this from Tony's point of view, where we were seeing his anguish at seeing all of his closest, allies being dusted around him, but then his mentee, the guy that he essentially sees as a son, we see through Tony's eyes in that moment, and we feel Tony's sense of concern and fear and shock and desperation as he's cradling Spider-Man's dusting body. But this isn't that though. This isn't like I'm going to take the stuff that I felt in the beginning of the movie, I'm going to overcome all of that. I'm going to process my grief and trauma, and then I'm going to go and overcome this bad guy, then go off and die. It's going to take some good explaining, and I think a guy like Destin Daniel Cretton can do it, but I believe that Marvel execs are involved enough that they might derail it and make it less good. Hopefully that's not the case, but it is possible, and
confesses everything to MJ.
That would be disappointing.
And sits down to die. Now, this was actually circulating about a day or two ago, and I'm glad I sat on it because I've had some thoughts basically establish themselves after reading through it several times. I want to point them out. As a whole...
So I'll let him give his opinion, and then we'll just learn a little bit about the Jackal, and then we can move on to the video game. But since I'm taking his the text inside his content to use here, I'd rather, like, you know, give him a little bit of the credit and just give him a chance to say what's up, or what's up with the situation. You know, is Sadie Sink Jean Grey? Signs point to yes, but I think it's still a mystery at this point. I think everyone's kind of just playfully saying, like, "Oh, she's still undetermined." But I think people have kind of, like, determined that she is. I'm still holding out hope that she's playing Betsy Braddock or Kitty Pryde. But the mind hopping thing, I think, is her, and I don't think it's Keith David. That's just going to be so weird, because he's not a mind jumper. Like, he's not a mind control guy. He is more of like a villain Tony Stark. Like, he's more of a bad guy supplier. So he doesn't jump consciousnesses. So I don't know. It would be the best case scenario if she was, or some other telepath, so that we don't have to get a telepathic Jackal. But he could steal her powers. So I don't know. I hope it'll be interesting. But so let me let Michael Roman give his opinion real quick, and then we'll switch to the learning about the Jackal.
Even though it gets very wordy and what seems like a little convoluted in the middle of the plot leak, logically there are no contradictions.
So see, he agrees with me. It's a little convoluted. I said contrite, but that's because I've seen story elements like that before. It's not overly complicated. It's just unnecessary. I'll let him say it back at normal speed, so it doesn't sound. I'm also, if this is your first time on the stream, welcome. First of all, answer the thing in the poll, and if you answer no, then just hit the button, please. That would be so nice. The only reason that it is restricted to sub-only mode is just because I'm trying to get those numbers up. You can chat immediately after you hit the button. There is no time restriction, but I would much appreciate it. Also, if you want to view us horizontally, then go over to Twitch. It's in the pinned chat message. Ads do run over there, but I've set them to be the lowest possible that they can be. Yeah, you'd be directly supporting me that way, because I earn a little bit of money from those ads. And if you notice me turning the face cam off, which I'm doing right now, it is not because I'm going away or anything. I'm not taking a break. I'm not leaving. I am simply just a type of person who smoketh on the cannabis, and I'm about to engage. So if you'd like to sync up, if you'd like to Sadie sync up and enjoy the cannabis with the goose, then please feel free. I will count us down. Make sure that my lighter's working. That has been an issue lately. All right, I will count us down from 3, 2, 1. Cheers. Smoke them if you got them. I will turn the cam on once again, and I will
circulating about a day or two ago,
let this
and
play.
I'm glad I sat on it, because I've had some thoughts basically establish themselves after reading through it several times. So I want to point them out. As a whole, even though it gets very wordy and what seems like a little convoluted in the middle of the plot leak, logically, there are no contradictions in here. That's number one. Number two, it has no problem coming out and saying, hey, no Man-Spider, no Grey Hulk. Those are things that are fan fiction that have worked themselves from theories into plot leaks. They're not in the film, and that's all he says. I kind of like that. It's very direct, and quite honestly, a lot of these plot leaks feel like there's pressure to always mention the stuff that's already been leaked by industry insiders.
But in the same vein, there's also pressure on people who want to set themselves apart to say the exact opposite of what all the fan leaks have been, or what all the fan theories have been. So keep that in mind too.
As a part of the story, I kind of like the fact that this just says, hey, that's not happening in the movie. People have talked about it and speculated, but it's not in there. I also thought that the end of it was completely implausible, that Peter Parker would just sit down to die. I also didn't understand when I read it the first couple of times why he was in a weakened state and dying. Well, it's because he's infected with this virus that Jack was given him, and the only way he thinks to win here is to allow himself to die and hopefully take his host with him, prompting him to just tell everything to MJ because it's the end anyway, which she'll probably end up recollecting. We'll get to that. In the meantime, though, that didn't make sense to me. It doesn't seem like Peter Parker, but I thought about it, because what that ending perfectly sets Peter Parker up for is the symbiote to find him and keep him alive. In his
see, again, it's not like symbiotes don't have like a hero sniffing ability. Like, they can't just detect a hero, or like they can't detect good hosts without just, plopping onto him. So the idea that the little glob of venom that was left after he left the universe, that it would just be like floating around the graveyard, is, I guess, kind of weird. But a possibility nonetheless. But I don't think I don't think that's really plausible. It would be hard. It would be very hard to make that make sense. I guess it wouldn't be that hard. Okay, maybe not that hard. I don't know. I feel like if the Venom symbiote is at all included in this, that it's in the lab. Like it's in some lab being studied by the people involved during the events. And it could be like in the background and then in a post-credit scene. Like we see it like break containment and then like go in and like go slithering down the street. But I just don't see I don't see it happening that we're going to get the Kraven's Last Hunt cover. I guess that'd be cool. I would be super into it. Even if like the post-credit scene is like where it's like bubbling down into the like a grave, or like he crawls into a shallow grave or something. And then it like slithers down in there. And we see kind of like a similar situation to in Spider-Man 3 when the symbiote started creeping up his body while he was sleeping. Could be something like that. And then we see him burst like through the earth, but it's not. I feel like it's wishful thinking. I feel like it's hopeful. It's very hopeful. Because you're tying together a lot of storylines that have been just like kind of left dangling. And I don't think that a lot of the the guys that are involved with the movie productions, I don't think they really care that much about those particular story elements, and just kind of want to tell their own story. Again, though, Dustin Daniel Cretton seems like the kind of guy who, because he was a fan for a long time, you know, and I think it would make sense that he'd want to tie together some of those threads that maybe he thought were left dangling too. Yeah, you never know.
His lowest moment, when he is about to die, the symbiote that was left over from Venom in the MCU all the way back can now find Peter Parker in that moment and save his life. And I think that is exactly the right kind of setup for him having the black suit, the Venom suit in Avengers Secret Wars, like he did in the comics all the way back in the 80s, by not making Venom the main focus of this film, but setting it up for a future film.
I mean, yeah, I think that's really going to be the only way that we set up Venom in this universe. It's going to have to skip a few generations in terms of storylines. We're going to have to get like very creative with how the black suit evolves after. I think it's going to go straight to Agent Venom and then Anti-Venom. Because there's every chance that Anti-Venom is like at a different enough echelon of hero-dom that maybe the rights don't have the same prices or issues that Venom would have for the Sony properties or whatever. So maybe easier to negotiate rights or licensing, or might even be free and clear in general, that they can use them whenever they want. Agent Venom or Anti-Venom, something like that. You never know. Could call him something different. Could call it like VNM, you know, like could be like, oh, it's a symbiote. We don't know what it is. It's an alien. It's a living creature. It's, you know, we've given it the code name VNM or something, you know, just some like bullshit like that, you know, make it easy and digestible.
Plus, if they feature Spider-Man in the Venom costume as a part of these next Avengers films, it's essentially them doing the symbiote without having to make a symbiote movie, without having to make Venom the villain, which does sort of avoid all of the recasting Tom Hardy or figuring that out, especially when right now Sony's focused on a Venom animated film. So, Mike?
Yeah. I mean, he basically said the same thing as me, but just on the other side. I fully agree with that. It's going to be way too complicated to have all of those characters figuring out what's going on with this entire thing going on around them without having to make just a whole nother movie. So yeah, that makes sense. I get it. I think differently narratively, but you know, more power to you, Michael Roman. What's going on?
conclusion here is that in a world of a bunch of fake plot leaks and fan fiction always circulating around the internet, this one seems to hold up logically and give us a bunch of answers to questions that we still had after the first trailer we haven't been able to answer from industry insiders. I think things like Man-Spider and Grey Hulk appearing, these have all been sort of rumors that have been spun up from deductions made from the trailer. That's why...
I mean, yeah. I feel like that's a very sensible conclusion to come to. If you see someone climbing out of a spider cocoon, his eyes turning black and shit, like... Yeah. Although, it could be that his eyes are turning black because of whatever possession. You never know. And that, like, the possession, it could be demonic. It could be like... I don't know. We just don't know. And we could, like, get a look at his past, at like when he became Spider-Man, or like like with Uncle Ben's death or something. Like we there's a whole bunch of stuff that they could add, or that is in the movie that we just haven't seen in any trailers, that may give us an entirely different impression than what we were already thinking. It could be that nothing is able to be confirmed, you know, and we just all have to just come up with different theories now, you know. It could be. It's very possible. So, if it does end up being true that the Jackal is the main villain, I get to say a big ol' I told you so. All right. But also, goddamn. But also, you might not know who the Jackal is. I'm going to go ahead and just read the actual, like, the wiki entry for the Jackal. I mean, I know that this is, like, riveting stuff, but if you don't know who the Jackal is, you should know who the Jackal is. And if you like Marvel properties, then you're going to like learning about the Jackal. All right? He's a central part. I'm trying to get this stuff up. It got congested right here, you know. I'm trying to get it up. It's very difficult. But the Jackal has been like kind of a central antagonist to a lot of Spider-Man stories, even if he acts behind the scenes in most cases. So he's a useful bad guy to know at least a little bit about. All right, so we're gonna straight up read his full wiki entry, except for the, you know, history and like all the boring stuff. All right, so. Well, no, I guess we are going to read his history. Just not his appearances, you know what I mean? Oh, I guess it just kind of goes all... Whatever, fuck it, we're going to read it. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. If you're here for me, all right? And you're here for the long haul, okay? So that's why we're reading the whole thing. We're going to read it all just verbatim. Not really. We're going to read it all. But I'll try to be as concise as possible. Let me just get into my reading mode. Bleep blorp. Miles Warren was once a professor of biochemistry at Empire State University. I'll be more sensual. Hang on. Be more sensual in my voicings. Listen to the sensuality. Miles Warren was once a professor of biochemistry at Empire State University. I think that's too sensual for a wiki entry reading. Possibly. It might be. I think it's too sensual. Maybe more of a scholarly, bookish tone, all right? Let me switch up my mode here. Miles... Can forget that happened. It was a vocal fry. Miles... That's because I'm losing my voice. Miles Warren... There we go. See, it affects your vocal cords. That's why I'm trying to, like, get rid of it. Because it makes me feel my vocal cords. But you don't want to, like, hurt your throat, you know? It's a delicate balance. Miles Warren was once a professor of biochemistry at Empire State University. At some point, he studied genetics under the tutelage of the High Evolutionary, and even created a man-jackal based on the Evolutionary's New Men work. You see, already we're tying into things we've seen in the MCU. there may be a montage. It's like, oh, hey, I've been kind of behind the scenes the whole time. That'd be cool, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. However, the man Jackal escaped and apparently killed Warren's first wife and children, causing him to become unstable. He was expelled from the Evolutionaries' headquarters due in part to his cloning experiments, which the High Evolutionary purportedly dismissed as stagnating human evolution instead of improving it. Warren was also a charismatic figure among the new men, and the Evolutionary wanted Warren gone to prevent his new men from dreaming beyond their station. Much less sensuous. Good. It's less sensual. It's less I don't want to be, seducing anyone across the airwaves, okay? Across the internet. Just because of my silky voice. Wouldn't it be funny if, like, someone was it's like you think they're gonna have a good voice, and then they're like, "I'll get you next time, my pretties." Like it's more of like a, I don't know what situation. I was trying to think of a real world situation where that would feel really funny and out of place, but I couldn't. So, here's where things start to get juicy. Miles fell in love with one of his students, Gwen Stacy. You may recognize the name. Who was the girlfriend of Peter Parker at the time. After Gwen was killed by the original Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, Miles blamed Spider-Man for her death and turned his attention towards methods of cloning humans, being inspired by the successful cloning of a full-grown frog by his lab partner, Anthony Serba. So already there's two massive links to the existing world of, Marvel, at least in the comics. Movie-wise, the High Evolutionary is a bit removed from all of the street-level stuff that goes on in New York, for good reason. He's a little bit outside of that realm, technology-wise. Using the cell samples of his students that Serba had collected, and with the aid of the Scryer, member of a mysterious organization that secretly worked for Norman Osborn, Miles worked to create clones of both Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker, discovering Peter was Spider-Man while analyzing his cells. His first successful attempt at cloning a human was Abby L., a hideous clone of Gwen Stacy with the power to degenerate any living being she touched. At some point, Miles struck a deal with Abby L. in that he would not clone anyone ever again, and she would not kill him. So this is clearly giving us a little bit of a in-comic reference to how cloned examples of people might potentially have powers of their own, meaning that perhaps the Jackal might, in this case, have the ability to either mimic or reproduce a mutant's powers. That could explain why the Jackal would have... if I'm steel manning the Jackal being the villain and that he is hopping consciousnesses, then that would be a way that he'd be able to do it. But you'd have to kind of mess him up a little bit. You'd have to kind of mix him up around, which is fine because that's what they did for most of, like, a lot of Peter Parker's history. So it's totally okay with this. I would not be a bad thing. It's just difficult to do sometimes, I think. Yep. Abby L. Abby L. left afterwards, prompting him to continue his experiments. His second successful attempt was a clone of Peter Parker, but he quickly began to show signs of degeneration. Miles decided to kill him, but the clone managed to escape before he could do so. And who could that have been? Perhaps Ben Reilly? Or Strife? I don't remember what his name was. Kane? Or Peter Parker. And this one that we see on screen is not the real Peter Parker. Huh? I don't know. Could have been that we were watching Ben Reilly this whole time. I mean, none of that is... I mean, that's also, I guess, less plausible, right? Less plausible than the Jackal just hopping mines for some reason. The Jackal! Confronted by Serba about the humans he cloned, Miles went completely insane and killed him. developing the personality of the Jackal as he tried to convince himself that someone else had killed his assistant rather than himself. Miles spent the following months refining the cloning process to successfully create clones who did not suffer from the telltale degeneration, which he ultimately accomplished, while also training his body and creating the equipment he would use as the Jackal to eventually confront Spider-Man. So you see what I'm saying? Like, he's a guy that, like, basically makes stuff and, like, does experiments and clones people, and, like, he's a facilitator. He's not like a cosmic threat or anything like that. He's a street level, I guess you could say street level, if we're talking MCU, especially this version of Spider-Man. He's a bit of a street level villain version of Tony Stark. Like, he'll give you the stuff that you need if you want to take down the Spider-Man. All right? And then you'll be in his pocket. But I think he's the one that outfitted all of the people that we see in this movie. He outfitted the Scorpion. He outfitted, what's his face? Boomerang. He outfitted, Tarantula. Like, he's behind all those guys. And if he's making a deal with Tombstone, he's been involved with Tombstone before too. Like, organized crime is his deal. So it all makes sense with the leak, but I just don't think completely, you know? I mean, I think, like, perhaps that's also just a fan theory that happens to align with my own based on just what I remember about the Jackal. Seeking punishment for Spider-Man, the Jackal attempted to manipulate the Punisher into killing the hero, but his deception was soon discovered. See what I mean? Do you see what I mean? But it seems in the beginning of the movie they're already friends, but it could be that if he's learning how to mind control people, then he could possess Frank and turn him against Spider-Man, which would follow, I mean, a bit of an element of this plot here. If we're thinking about how to repurpose things for the MCU, then perhaps this could be a thread that we pull. I don't know. In order to torture Spider-Man emotionally, the Jackal sent one of Gwen Stacy's clones after him. He later sent Scorpion to kill Spider-Man at the hospital where his aunt was recovering after the shock of seeing Gwen Stacy made her faint. But Scorpion didn't know Spider-Man's secret identity and thus thought the Jackal had played with him when he invaded the hospital room and found only May and her nephew. Scorpion was eventually defeated by Spider-Man and arrested by police. After helping Tarantula escape prison, the Jackal and his new ally captured Spider-Man and took him to the George Washington Bridge, the place where Gwen Stacy died, to finally kill him. The Jackal threw a chained-up Spider-Man into the river below and escaped with both Tarantula and Gwen Stacy's clone, not knowing Spider-Man managed to break his own fall. When approached by Peter Parker and Ned Leeds about the mysterious return of Gwen Stacy, Miles made them suspect of his deceased lab assistant, leading Peter, as Spider-Man, to search for Serba in his apartment, where he was ambushed by Tarantula. When Tarantula failed to subdue Peter-Man, the Jackal confronted him, revealing he was Miles Warren all along. The Jackal defeated Spider-Man and took him to his hideout where Spider-Man fought him once again when he woke up. The Jackal escaped, but not without telling Spider-Man to meet him at Shea Stadium later that night. A clone of Miles, dressed as the Jackal, drugged Spider-Man as soon as he arrived at Shea Stadium and forced him to fight against his own clone to save the life of Ned Leeds, who the Jackal had kidnapped and tied to a time bomb. I don't think any of this is going to happen, by the way, just to let you know. The bomb eventually went off and destroyed Shea Stadium, burying everyone under its wreckage and killing Miles Warren's clone. So this is where I came into it as a kid. The Clone Saga was the first line of comics I ever read, or the first, I guess, arc of comic books. It was in a serial format. I think it was a re-release or something like that, but it was like a limited edition. But I caught up. I went back at some point. Right after the explosion of Shea Stadium, the True Jackal came out of the shadows to put the next phase of his revenge plan into motion, to strip Peter Parker of his identity. So kind of a little bit of a dovetail here. It's not quite a Doctor Strange making people forget about him, but after examining the Spider-Man, to discover who was the clone, the Jackal injected a drug capable of simulating death in the original, which led the Spider clone to dump his body into a smokestack. After rescuing Spider-Man and dropping the body of a failed Spider clone into the smokestack to create further confusion in the future, the Jackal erased Peter Parker's memories and implanted new ones that led him to wander the world as Ben Reilly and later become the Scarlet Spider. However, unbeknownst to Jackal, his equipment had been sabotaged by his new lab assistant, Seward Trainer, under the orders of the Scryer to make him think that the Spider clone was the original Spider-Man, thus preventing Miles from taking revenge on Peter while granting this honor to the Scryer's superior, Norman Osborn. The real Miles Warren worked from behind the scenes from that point on, using a genetically altered clone of himself to torment both Spider-Man and Scarlet Spider. After Ben Reilly's death at the hands of the Green Goblin, Miles collected a DNA sample from his dissolved remains to use in future experiments. Calling himself the Professor, maybe a professor at where the Hulk is teaching, the Jackal resurfaced sometime later, somewhat older than before, older man, like Keith David, and helped Hammerhead gain influence in the criminal underworld after the Kingpin's fall. Now, Hammerhead could be replaced by Tombstone very easily. Very, very easily. But betrayed him after being arrested due to the actions of Daredevil, taking control of the criminal empire he was helping him build and controlling it from inside the prison where he claimed it was safe. I think that's good for now, because I don't think any of this is really going to have much to do. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, no, I don't think any of this is really important. I think we covered the important stuff. Yeah, yep. Okay, yeah, we did. Good. Okay. So, it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense that the Jackal's the ultimate hidden baddie here. Not baddie like, baddie with a baddie with a booty. Not like that. But baddie like bad guy. Bad guy, bad man. Bad man. Batman? Batman? Nope, still goes up way too high. Batman? So yeah, if you don't know who the Jackal is, now you know. And I still think that is sort of the long and short of how it's actually going to play out in the movie, but you never know. It could change. It could completely change. Obviously, take everything I say with a grain of salt because I don't have any inside knowledge. Not like the hot emo girls Goose used to pull. They were goth, not emo, okay? Emo back then was like... Shit, I don't know that there's a genre that covers it today. It's like people who listen to Death Cab for Cutie. Like, I guess indie, hipster, that was what emo was back in the day. And then people started calling all that music shoegaze, and it was like, okay, well... Now what do we do? And then emo became something that was more like nu metal mixed with like pop. It's weird. But like they dress all like ICP people. Juggalos. They dress like juggalos. Not that I have a problem with cake makeup. My first girlfriend had cake makeup, and she was pretty hot. At the time, within the context. Gross. Feels creepy calling her hot at my age. Gross. Gross. Pretty gross. Alright, so we're finally switching over to the coin pusher. I've been waiting. I am so addicted to this game now. Ugh. If this cost real money, I would be lost. I'd just be lost. I would not ever make it out of my room again. What is RACCOIN? No, I'll say it's new viral. It's a new viral game. New viral coin pusher simulator. I'm using all the buzzwords. Roguelike. You know, you really gotta do it up. You gotta put that, you gotta put that shit to work. All right. I don't know what I mean. I don't know what any of that means, but you gotta put that shit to work. All right. You gotta put that bear to bed. You gotta put that genie in the picnic basket. You gotta put a genie in a picnic basket. It's just, that is, you gotta do that. All right. So. No, don't patronize me. Okay. Nope. Nope. I didn't want to click that. No. Okay, that's fine. Sorry, I'm just trying to switch up my stuff. Switching up my stuff. Switching it. Switching my stuff. Taking that stuff and switching it. That is the right category. Perfect. We're good on that. I need to go back to my dashboard. I'm narrating what I'm doing in real time. And I have to click on this link. All right, I can see my stream again. Hello again. Hello stream. Hello my own face. Welcome to my own face. Welcome to my face. And then I want to switch it on Twitch. Gotta switch it on Twitch. Switch it on Twitch. Switch it on Twitch. Switch it on Twitch. Oh, no, it's already switched. Okay. That. All right. How's it going? How's it going, guys? Hi. Hello. Skippy, I hope you're doing all right. Change it to work jazz. This one's late night jazz. Then we'll switch it to work jazz. I don't know what's going to be different. It's not much different, but it's some work jazz. You know, it's very smooth. But yeah. If you're just joining as we go into this 11:30 hour, it's not the top. I thought it was the top of the hour. It's not the top of the hour. It's about halfway through. About halfway through. Then welcome. Enjoy the stream. Enjoy my presence. Enjoy my sweet, soft, and silky voice as we drift off into the land of coin pusher roguelike simulators, which are just exactly how they sound. I used to play these things. A lot when I was a kid. Just to remind, I said it, the first time we showed this on stream, but I'll just say it again if you're new. I used to go on a lot of trips with my mom to an office that she would work out of in Reno, and Reno just happens to be a miniature Vegas, right? And it has casinos, and one of those casinos is Circus Circus, and Circus Circus had a huge arcade, and they had all the relevant ticket redemption machines and stuff, but I always found that the most tickets came from these coin machine games. And when you're first looking at something like this, the urge is just to say, like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna dump all my coins in here I have 20 coins in my hand. I'm just going to do that and just dump all my coins in. But there is a bit of a secret. There's a bit of a method to the madness when it comes to these things. And so in this game, part of playing it is understanding like how these machines work, which is also pretty cool because the way they work is kind of cool. You know, it's like you put a coin in the machine, it comes out through and it hits this area, and you hope that it will fall down into the lower area because you see all these things happening. Like in the real world, you see these things happening in these machines, and it's like, okay, like I want the coins to fall in. And usually, if I was to give one honest criticism of this game, it would be that I want to see less physics happening to the coins. Like I want to see them more heavy, because they should be like hanging over like dangerously, you know, like it's part of that, like it's like it's the anticipation. It's like, oh my god, ah, and then it doesn't happen. But like, and then being able to move the camera so that like you can change the perspective so that you can see like a more of this view, like so that you can see like how it's cresting over the top. But do you see how long that took? It's like, I mean, I'm just going to end this run real quick and then start it over. So you can see, like, the way that you want to do it is more strategic. Like, I know that they're going to come out of these two chutes here. So if I put one in the center and then I put a couple there, I can actually focus a coin onto the right side of the screen without going all the way over. So if I do that, it's just all the way over. And so in that, I didn't even use 10 of my 20 coins, and I got to the target right away, very, very quickly. That's really that's the secret, is you want to just wait until you want to be patient and wait until the lever or the pusher comes out, and then slip the coins underneath the level of the other coins. And there's like special coins. It's like, you know, it's like any of those match 3 games or anything like that, like a puzzle game, but it presents itself like it's a lot more RNG based. It's not, but it presents itself that way. See, so if I put 2 in the center, I'm slowing down any other ones that I send over. And if I want to just go right over to the other end, I just do something like that. And it is a game of patience. You know, patience definitely accounts for a lot when you're doing. Sorry, I get really zen when I'm like when I'm playing this, because it's, I don't know. Maybe that's like my ADHD stuff. My ADHD brain. A special coin. I normally I'd want to hang out in this map for a bit just so that I can load my clip with special coins, because that's what that does. Every 3 coins it passes, you get a coin inside this clip here. And so I can load it up for free, essentially. These are... So the class, or I guess the player class that I am right now is the manager. And the manager is really focused on getting lots of tickets and lots of special coins that add value to coins around it. So there's like a whole other dimension to this game than just putting coins into a machine. I mean, obviously it says it's a roguelike, so it makes sense. But so if I can, what I like to do is I like to upgrade the clip as much as possible and then load it up with these guys. Chummy coins. All other chummy coins gain +5 value. So by the time and this app gives a passive chance to obtain a random coin when I hit the exchange button right here. Very helpful if you're trying to fill your clip. And then, oh man, it's 3 good ones right there. Oh shit, no, I didn't set it up the right way. It's fine. Then we'll want to lean more into the cloveroins. Oh, damn it. But those actually give an increase to your conversion rate. And as you can see right there, the conversion rate 0 to 100 has a chance to turn your coins into silver coins. And then over 100% actually has a chance to turn your silver coins into gold coins, which is very nice. And so what we want is Santa's scarf or Santa's stocking, whichever one. It gives an 8% chance to shoot out a coin in the clip when you shoot out a coin here. And with this card that I'm using, it's called the Night card. It gives you coins. It gives you this immediately, which is every 10 coins scored, you get +1 in hand. And the way that I have my wheels set up right now, it goes on like these really long chains of just putting coins into the scoring area. And if 8% of them turn to either Clover Oin or Chummy coins, that's very good for us. Especially like when we get to endless mode, if we're just trying to go for score, which I do for like hours and hours and hours. I'm so addicted to this fucking game. Oh, I can't believe that. I can't believe it actually is like hours and hours. Because it is. Like, I think my wife is getting concerned. Like, I gotta get home and play Coin Pusher! No, I don't want to hang out with friends. I want to go and play Coin Pusher. I need to play Coin Pusher. I mean, it's gambling, more or less, right? And with the card that I have, it actually turns more into gambling because you get a return on your coins for how many coins go in there. Oh, highly addictive. But until we get said item chip, I guess you call it, we're taking things slow. See, and so hitting exchange, it tells me that I got a coin. So you get coins. Special coins. Oh, I gotta blow my nose. Oh my gosh. Pardon me. And if you do just join randomly, then please do feel free to say hi. I would love to welcome any and all new folks to the community. It is in sub-only mode, but you can talk immediately after you sub. I just need that count to go up. But it is one short button click. Click or tap? I think it's tap these days. One short button tap. And if you like, you can head over to Twitch. Either way. And so you have the option to enter the shop if you want. And this button actually, it tells the spin and all like bonus stuff to wait until the next round. But I want to get rid of these coins so I can possibly get Santa's scarf or stocking, whichever that is. So I'm going to stay in this round for just a little bit. And if anyone here like knows the game better than I do, then let me know, because I don't know it. Like, I only know what I've seen so far. So, and I think I'm 79% unlocked. So I've dedicated quite a bit of time to this game so far. It is probably my favorite. Because this is the same, like, these are the machines that I play, at places like casinos and stuff. Like, or not casinos, but like if I can go into Langer's, which is it's a family fun center, in the area I live in, like I'm here for like hours. I would be sitting there for like hours. Dave and Buster's is another good example. They got all the most modern like video games, but I love this shit. I don't know. Maybe that's, that could be the the neurodivergent possibility, perhaps. I need this thing to go away. Bam! Now we can enter the shop. I like +1 chip slot, but I also like being able to use modifiers on the tray. We'll get the chip slot, and spin is not a bad thing to have. For now, that's a good chip to have, but I'm definitely gonna want to change that. This is also a good coin to have. So it's what I'm going for are coins that increase the value of other present coins like it. Because that way, if we can flood the trays with similar coins, then it'll just increase in value that much more, right? Another one of those, and yeah, more tickets would not hurt at this point. I'm hurting. I'm hurting for certain. Hurting for certain. Although I do have enough to reroll again. Though I don't have enough to buy zombie. 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 Hey, hey. Oh. You guys remember the cranberries? Who doesn't remember the cranberries, right? So that changes silver coins. I don't know why I used that just now. That was probably a dumb idea, but there are dumber. There are dumber ideas. Because my conversion rate is like nothing. So what I could do... I shouldn't be building for conversion rate. I guess it's just really the long and short of it. I should be building for coins in hand. And probably spin, I guess, even though I'm playing the manager. This build is just all wrong. It's not a good build. I didn't think this out before I selected manager. I think it's manager and Big Eater that I have to beat again. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. I want to be able to build it properly. So let's go to Big Eater. We're going to play a game. Start. Big Eater. Yep, I got to do one more win for Big Eater, and then I think I'll have almost everything unlocked that I can for now, and then I'll have to get an Astronomer win. Well, actually, we'll play Astronomer. Yeah, we'll play Astronomer, because that one's pretty visually fun. And then we'll go for the flat 25% conversion rate. So you'll get to see what happens when you start increasing your conversion rate. It goes kind of crazy. But see, as you can see, like the conversion rate is so high off the bat that you see a ton of silver coins in there now. Like that's perfect for manager gameplay because more tickets, more coins, more tickets. You know, it's always better to because you get 20% of your coins in or 20% of your tickets in extra tickets each round. So that's good to have. That's good to have. And this class has one free use of coin in the clip, if it's an Astro coin. I mean, this isn't this won't do much right now, but you catch my drift. It was a free cast. Also, if you get prize balls and you don't have like too crazy of a tray on the bottom, you can very easily just use a black hole or a white hole or whatever to clear the path for the ball to fall down. Pretty good. Oh, I need to buy a friggin' upgrade. Friggin' upgrade! More tickets is nice. Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm mostly gonna try and keep these for the free cast. Like, I want to keep at least one copy of one of them so that I can use that for the free cast next round. And again, I'm going to go ahead and just stay in this round so that I can push these off and get that keychain. That's what it's called. They're called keychains. Marzoin. So if you notice when they come out, they like jump. That's what those Astro coins do. I don't know if there's more, if they do more than that, but so far that's what I've learned. That's what they do. We're just trying to get these. I don't like that they're the ones that turn coins small, because, like, it just means that it's going to take more coins to get them out of here. Bastard. This one's just a pretty good... Mercury coin's just like a kind of a good... just one to have. Gives tickets. You want tickets. Tickets is a big thing. There's an economy. It's important. Spin would be good, so I'll let the spin wheel go. Yeah, I need more coins in here. That would help. Thank you. Spinning to winning. What? Also, I did a little more playing around with it the other day, and I don't think that I don't think the physics gets all weirded out by the thing moving faster. It could, but if it does, it's like a minimal effect. Oh, yeah. Get on down there. No. Okay, good. I almost clicked on it way too early. That would have been devastating. So autofill is, I don't know how, like, what makes that mechanic work, but it's basically like it just puts coins in a blank area. Like if you've used black hole and it looks too bare there, then it'll like fill it in, kind of. Atomic coin's really nice to have. But then again, so's Saturn, but I don't have any of those right now. Each class... Oh, hell yeah. Each conversion? Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, those are all really good items, but I don't know if I really need any of those, actually. Oh, man. You can't return it. Because it's destroyed. That'd be really cool, though. I could have used that on the Saturn. Freaking... The Saturn one. I guess? Yeah. Return is pretty rare, and it's nice to use it when you can. Yeah, that's fine. Just go ahead and clear the field here. There you go. Just go up a few levels. All right, let me go. Let me get into the thing. No, those are both good. We'll keep those. Don't need that. Now that is what I was looking for. So that will increase the chance of high rarity coins, which is already something that's happening quite frequently. I have two return pieces that are in play right now, so we can just kind of hold on to that slot, keep it ready for them. Then we'll go into these they have good value. Tripping over my words here. Astrofall. Rocket ship. Don't want that one. Don't want that one. Ah, another atomic coin would not hurt. There we go. Okay. Destroy it out there. Yeah. All right. Oh crap. But which one would I put it on? I guess that one, right? Blammo! Alright, so my Jupiter coins should both still return. Come on. Get them on in there. Come on now. There's one. Give me the other. I want this thing to fill again before I can use this guy, the zombie one. And then we'll use these special coins. I want to hold on to, like, I don't know, just like one or two of these types of coins. That's why I'm not like upgrading the clip a lot. But if I can get a hold of either Cloveroin or what else? If I can get a hold of Cloveroin, and then I guess just this one, honestly, Coin Mitt. Yeah, those two I think are the best ones for this particular class slash character slash what have you. Oh, that's a bomb tower. Always a good thing to have. Never bad, always good. Unless you're like trying to do a specific thing. So you see how many silver coins are here? If we can stack these, that'd be cool, but I really would love Cloveroin. It's not jazz. If you're just joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the noon o'clock hour. I'm your pal Goose, and we're chilling, watching some coins cascade into the scoring area. I waited too long to click the enter the shop button. Come on. Ah, crap. I guess that's fine. I just want one Cloveroin. Ooh, up to 20. I mean, I guess. Plus 20, oh, damn. Alright, well. We'll do that. That is not bad. And now I need Santa's whatchamacallit. Santa's whatchamacallit. Santa's whatchamacallit! Damn, dude. No, I need this for the tickets right now. Fudge, but that's pretty good. Now, I'm getting FOMO, and I'm looking at it like it's a buffet. I'm doing too much window shopping, you know. You gotta calm down when it comes to these things, you know. So, see, that was a free zombied coin, which is real nice. It's real nice. So we got the 2 coins we wanted. I'm gonna keep it there, and if that one there's a chip that makes it so that if you have less stuff on your clip, less clip upgrades, that you actually get more bonuses. So if we can find that, we'll use that. See, look at that. Oh, I didn't want to do that, but it's fine. 6. No, I think this is all actually just fine. Yeah. Look at that. See? Bunch of cool effects, bunch of cool bonuses and shit. So I use that free zombie shit. And this one I will keep going. Ooh, now that's a good one too. So this one makes you spin like a Russian roulette thing, like a secondary wheel, and you can get into like a lot of just like cycles of going over and over again. It's pretty cool. Can't use any of those. So again, I mean, and you want to limit yourself if you do end up getting that Santa's scarf or stocking or whatever. You want to try and make sure that you're not using too many coins, because it's only an 8% chance, right? So that's why we will get rid of that, I think. Blam! I'm hoping to get rid of this thing. Where's... oh, it's over there. Okay. You're going down, my friend. Booyah! Alright, now we can enter the shop. Damn it! Well, that's nice. We'll grab. +1 score rate per digit. Oh my gosh. I can't keep being tempted. This is fine. This will work. Who will buy that? Just for shits and giggles. Whee! See, look at that. Look at all that cool stuff. I win. Oh yeah, bomb tower. Oh yeah. Where are you guys? Oh, okay. So I think that's really cool, like, about the coins in this game are kind of like the elite enemies that you fight, right? And then some of them are so bad that it's like, I could see that being like a boss, you know? The equivalent of a boss. It's pretty cool. It's cool how they did this. I like that. Or I like it. It's a good game. Very addictive. It's strangely addictive. Like, just for like how slow-paced it seems. It is just like... It's good. It's... Oh, no bad coins. Okay. No! No! Spin! Why? Thank you. Okay, Yes, thank you. We do want that out there. We want that out there all the damn time. I think I don't even need anything else. Use that. Use that. Look at that. Look at that. All that stuff hopping all over the place. That's visually stunning. Pure cinema. Go, my pretties. Fly, fly. Fly, fly. I'll take it. I'll take that too. And I'll take that as well. And you can also stack these. As many of these chocolate boxes you can get, you can stack, and they will just keep growing. No, honestly, I think I'm fine. I don't really think. I mean, I guess we can do that. That would not be bad to have. That would be pretty good. Ooh, okay. Now that would be pretty good too. I think we'll be fine on score rate. Having those count for double is way good, especially when we're looking at our conversion rate. Like, the amount of silver coins that there are is just insane. Boop. So when we automatically sell things off now, just by having like full prizes, it will be a lot easier. Oh crap, I accidentally cloned the return one again. Get back up there. They're almost gone. We really want Santa's scarf? So now we're actually paying tickets to exchange, which we want to make sure that we're limiting. That can really be a ticket sink. Enter my shop. Yes! Perfect. Damn, that would be good too, huh? Yeah, I don't really need any random coins anymore. We're good. We're good on that. And then I'll buy these just to sell them. And these as well. That way you get the maximum counts for the UFOs. And then we're good. It's mostly over at this point. It's all over but the crying. Remember that song from People Being Old? I'm old. I'm old! Don't patronize me. See, and now it kind of starts to get wacky. Now things are starting to get a little wacky. Wacky turbacky. Oh god. See what I mean? See what I mean, Jelly Bean? And remember, we are double the value here. As long as I keep these rotating, they won't come out in the... in that thing. And if we can get to a place where we are actually making sustainable profits of coins, then we can get the conversion rate high enough so that we can just always be making gold coins. It's pretty crazy. Oh yeah, that does happen with this. Okay, yeah, no, I'm selling that. I don't want all my coins to go away. I need as many coins as possible. Oh, it's that one, yeah. Per chip equipped. No, it's not that one. It is not that one. I'll buy these just to sell. I don't need that really. Sell those. Which one did I want? I wanted the plus 60% conversion rate. Oh yeah. Okay. Now we're in the end game here. We're gonna keep, yeah. We're gonna against my better judgment. I think we're gonna keep the 2 special coins the way they are. But look, it's all regular. So it's all silver coins now. Like there's no. It's over. Wouldn't hurt to just have that on there just in case, you know. Oh, and I'm not retaining them as I go. I gotta remember that. That is an easy thing to forget. See, those are not gold coins. Never mind. I have to remember to use these before I start pumping coins out. We want to try and get as many of those green coins out as possible, which is why that's why I was like, I kind of want to just use that. And then just never have the clip full of anything other than those coins. Oh, my computer can't handle that. Be more gentle on me. Enter the shop right the fudge away. Resets. That's fine. We won't get that. That's fine. We don't need it. Ooh, although... Oh shit, one for you. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now we got it. Okay. Now I know the build is done. The build is the build is ready to go. Where's the frickin' Yeah, it should be this one. If I'm quite honest. And then we need what? Zombie? Free. Yeah, we need zombie. Okay. Crap. It's gonna be difficult for that to just pop up. And I used all my fucking tickets. Okay. Okay. Well. Yeah, that was a mistake that I made in using that. Though it's panning out right now. At least that one's got return on it, so I don't have to worry about it. $142 coins in hand. But no, I didn't want these. Yeah, look at that. Look at all that conversion. I should have at least one in that clip. Not that one. Please, not that one. I don't know why I saved that one. Having a Jupiter one wouldn't hurt. Get it. Puff up that middle. There you go. That's how you do that. We won. And so now we're going to go into endless, which things will get much more wacky in endless mode. That I can tell you with a lot of certainty. Now that's not a bad idea. Sell that. I want that to stop coming back. Now, does that count? I think it only counts if I'm like doing actual like chip insert or actual insertion of the coins themselves. So yeah, I don't know if that would work. We'll see. I'll take a look over the next round and see if that's having an effect. And uno más. Fuck is that? Another free use. Would 2 be better than just a chance of 1? Oh, damn. While in play. We'll say yes, because I don't want to keep buying coins. Like, I want to be done with that. When clip is empty. Oh, fuck you. Cramp. So we want to put return on that. That's a big one. Oh, come on, help me out here. No. Don't fudge with me. Darn it. Okay, fine. We'll get it in the round, I suppose, if we can. Get it, girl. Yeah. Each coin inserted from the left, right side, 30% chance to spawn an extra coin. I like that. It's good. It's good. And of course, the more of these that are in play, the more chances for extra coins there are. I don't know how I'm going to get up to 6 million. That's definitely... I don't know if that's in the cards. Where is... Where is it? Where's that coin? I lost it. Yep. Go to that one. There we go. I don't know if it'll actually do it, but let's see if it does it. Fly, my pretties. That's what autofill does. Very simple. I gotta remember, next time that goes back into the clip, I gotta just sell it. It's outlived its usefulness. Sold! Look at that. Look at all that. Look at all those tickets. Economy's going crazy. I wonder if you can get your conversion rate high enough to just shoot gold coins all the time. That would be pretty cool. Yes! Yes! Beautiful, because I don't think the effect stacks. I think it's just kind of... Yeah. I think it's just like... Oh, no, it does. It spawns out of that coin. Does it also have an 8% chance to... spawn different coins? It looks like it does share like a conversion rate thing. Yes, perfect. So if we can get up to 6 million, which again I doubt, I'll finally be able to. That is the build. That's it, right there. Shebang. Orang. Shebang-orang. Increasing the fuck out of that score rate. I think it's doing that permanently too. I'm out. And then you get one free shake. You got a fries with that shit. Or does do fries come with that? Fuck. Fuck. Yeah, unfortunately, I just don't think that we're going to make it to 6 million. It is quite the jump. That is for sure. Keep getting coins, though, so... Hell yeah. Look at them marching off like nice little soldiers. Very cooperative. Very collaborative. Oh, I think what I wanted to do was to have Zombie on that Comet Toin, for use at the beginning of the round, I think was my intention. Come on, push that guy over. Thank you. I'm not even gonna get to 1 million, damn. All right, there it is. That's it. We're out of resources, out of luck. Oh no, we got coins. Now we're out of resources and luck. Still gotta spin. There's every chance it could end up being a never-ending chain of just wealth upon wealth upon wealth. Health. Nope, it's prize balls. Well, there you go. Hope that helps. Thank you. Thank you, UFO. Zombies. Push that thing over. Come on. Come on. Come on. More prize balls. Super cool. Push it over! Push it over! Oh my god. Thank you. And then I want to use it... Oh wait, no. I want to make sure I don't use it up. Heh. That's right. And then we'll even put return modifier on a new one. Shabam. We're keeping it going. Keeping the line going. It would be nice if some more of those would go in there. Thank you. Perfect. Perfect. So many prize balls. Look at that. You just watch that score rate grow. Damn it, don't tell me I'm bankrupt. Stop doing that. I mean, you keep telling it. You keep saying that I'm bankrupt. I don't need it. I don't constantly need a reminder. Thank you. Yeesh. Yeah, I'm just nickel and diming it too much. Tain't no way. But at least you got to see how conversion rate works. It's pretty fun. That is a decent mechanic. Because you can, like, upgrade your coins. Like, I don't know, it's cool. I like it. Makes sense. It makes sense to me. But yeah, we're definitely not going to get to the target. More friggin' prize balls? Okay. So yeah, we got some unlocks. We made some progress, and we talked a lot about Spider-Man today. I think this is a darn good place to stop it. At least it's good as any. Hope you guys had a good time. Thank you very much for hanging out. We get some chores done, you know. Eat some lunch and we get some chores done. It's going to be a good Monday. All right, later, y'all. Join me tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.